Where are we going, babe?
We're going to Six Flags.
Which one?
Magic Mountain.
Oh, cool. How long has it been since we've been?
No.
Valentine's Day.
Was it really?
It was the one that we went late in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had to go home.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, I think we went the following Monday or something because it was like President's Day or something after that. Or I did. But we together haven't since Valentine's Day.
What were you saying?
A few days before Thanksgiving, the Awesomeness and I took a drive out to Six Flags Magic Mountain to check out their Holiday in the Park drive-thru event. We arrived about an hour before our scheduled time and waited for about an hour in our car for our chance to enter. The first thing you see upon entering is the bus from the infamous Six Flags commercials starring the dancing Mr. Six. You actually enter from the back lot where the employees park directly into the DC Universe section of the park, which is lit up pretty much like normal Holiday in the Park, although it's kind of scaled back because they only bothered decorating the path that the cars drive now, which is pretty much understandable. Although if you try to look around a little bit, you'll notice the rest of the park is pretty dark. Holiday music plays throughout the entire experience, and my wife and I immediately wondered why they didn't bother putting in some short-range radio transmitters so that people could tune into a specific custom radio station and listen to the music in their car synchronized with the event. This is something that our work did for a Halloween drive-thru experience that we held on campus, and we just basically used these really small, short-range FM transmitters to broadcast everything that was happening in the sound system to the cars in the immediate area. And it worked out really well. It encourages people to keep their windows closed, which is safer with all the COVID stuff going on. Plus, it was kind of cold outside, so it'd be nice to be able to have your windows rolled up, but you'd still be able to hear all the music. We were kind of surprised that our little art school was able to pull it off, but Six Flags didn't even think to try it. Anyway, after exiting out underneath this archway, you drive past the Christmas tree to the right and enter the carnival section, which I have to say was very sparsely decorated. Sparse is an adjective you're probably going to hear a lot in this video. Those of you who've watched my videos in the past about Holiday in the Park know that I always kind of feel like they could have done more. There's always large sections of the park that aren't decorated at all. They just have like a Christmas wreath up here and there. This felt a lot like that, although because you're driving through these areas and this is like your area of direct focus, it really felt like they should have put more effort into some of these spaces. It was cool they did have Christianity going with kind of a Christmas theme in the lights department, but it really did not help the fact that Christianity looked so crazy while the surrounding area looked so bland. I mean, there's a pretty big gap between the carnival and tidal wave, where, as you can see, there's not much decoration. You can see stuff up ahead, but immediately around you, there's just some lights. The area by tidal wave, for instance, is just kind of blue, but then you turn the corner by the barbecue place and the Hall of Justice area, and that's where things really start to pick up. This part of the park is always really fun to walk through when it's normal Holiday in the Park and you're able to actually, walk around. It's also one of the better parts of the drive-thru experience. It's pretty clear to me that Six Flags decided to invest a lot of time and effort into a couple of smaller areas along the route, and then just kind of decorate the in-between as best they could. It doesn't always work, though. Also, as you saw at the beginning, the S on the Six Flags sign was out, which is kind of odd in an event that is all about how many lights they have going on at the park. Kind of strange for it to be X Flags Magic Mountain. And here they have that same problem with the Delur's Revenge. The Hall of Justice entrance for the Battle for Metropolis ride was all lit up nice and pretty with red, white, and blue. It looked really nice, similar to how it is at normal Holiday in the Park. Again, a lot of the decorations were just reused from previous holidays in the park. Not complaining, I just would have liked to see even more. Being able to drive through one of these would have been really cool. And if ever there was an event that called for Mr. Freeze to make an appearance, this was it. They could have done an entire, Batman and Superman saved the park from Mr. Freeze story if they really wanted to. But instead, it's just random bits of Christmas and holiday iconography and Christmassy holiday music playing in the background, and some twinkling lights and Christmas trees and like a million snow princesses? Not sure. This part right after Jetstream was really dull, with just these blue spotlights and no other decorations of any sort. And then we come to the Underground, which was just as sparse as any other version of Holiday in the Park, except now there's lots of dusty, dirty cars parked everywhere. So that's cool. Let's take a look, shall we? Wow, so much Christmas. It's holiday overload over here. Look at the Christmas speed chop. Here we go. Now we're getting to some lights, sort of. We got more parked cars from West Coast Customs. Cool. And look, over here, there's lights on the buildings. That's it, just lights shining on buildings. More cars. Nothing says Christmas like cars. As we approach this Christmas tree at the end, the drum line stopped and they left the stage. So, bad timing on our part, I guess. Christmas tree is nice, though. Pretty neat. This next part was probably the most interesting part of the entire experience, and that's just driving through the park. Especially this part of the park. This is the back way up the hill. So not the steepest path, but still, pretty steep. Not so bad when you're driving though, actually pretty simple. There's not a whole lot of decoration going on. As you can see, they've added some extra little trees with lights on them. And then the support structure for Tatsu and Ninja maybe have like spotlights shining on them of different colors. As always, the top of the mountain was one of the most impressive sections of the entire park, although this too was scaled back quite a bit. Typically, this section will be completely covered in fake snow. They'll have sprayed fake snow all over the roofs of all the buildings and in all the trees, and there'll be fake snow all over the ground and in all the non-walkway areas. And why didn't they put a Santa hat on the Tatsu dragon? Seems like a huge wasted opportunity not to put a Santa hat on the Tatsu dragon. Anyway, so again, it's just kind of scaled back from what you normally see. Even here you see trees that don't have lights on them. Typically this entire section is just completely lit up and sprayed with snow, but this time scaled back quite a bit. I don't know if we went too early into the whole event. Maybe we should have waited until December to check it out. Maybe they're still putting stuff up, but it didn't seem like it. It seems like this is what they've done, and this is what it is. The drive back down towards Six Flags Plaza isn't decorated all that much either. There is a section once you get by Revolution that has a couple things going on, and they did put a sign on the bridge that takes you to X2. Down by the New Revolution is where we found some of the snow sculptures that they usually have further up the mountain, as well as some new giant penguins and the snow carpets. These are normally placed next to each other to make the entire ground look like it's covered in snow. When they're spaced out like this, it looks a lot less realistic. Just kind of lame. After passing the carousel, which is running and lit up and looks beautiful, they make you go around by the customer service area and then direct you into the Six Flags Plaza. This is one of the only 2 areas that we noticed that has fake snow falling down on top of your vehicle. We were really hoping that there'd be a lot more of that throughout the entire experience. It seemed like a no-brainer to put a whole bunch of snow machines along the route, but no, it's only a smattering here and there, unfortunately. The plaza looks beautiful as always. Again, pretty much the same sort of decorations they do for normal holiday in the park. And for the first time in the evening, we see an actual licensed set of characters dancing around. There were no superheroes in DC Universe, but here we have some Looney Tunes before we're even into Looney Tune Land. Full Throttle Plaza had their stage going with choreographed dancing to Christmas music. You can't stop and watch or anything, but it's still better than nothing. And then off to the side, they had their standard Full Throttle Plaza Christmas tree display. And then, of course, the Full Throttle Saloon was decorated in lights, as it is every year for Holiday in the Park. Mrs. Claus is greeting people from the stage outside the Golden Bear Theater. And the outside of Looney Tune Land was decorated with a whole bunch of lights, though not really anything else was going on over here. Once you pass the Christmas trees lit up outside the Whistle Stop Express station, there's a little bit of darkness before you get all the way over to Goliath. The entrance to Goliath was lit up pretty well with these toy soldiers marching around out front. And then just beyond Goliath, off to the left where the fish and chip stand is, was one of their snack stations. So there were special packages where you could buy basically a snack package where they give you things like popcorn and hot chocolate and just things like that. Personally, I feel like that kind of thing should have been included with the cost of admission, or if you're a member, or at the very least, if you are like us and have the dining pass, it should have been included. Six Flags keeps talking about how they want to do all these extra things to make up for the fact that we've been paying for our memberships during the pandemic, but then they have an opportunity like this and they just don't. For those of you who think that Holiday in the Park is all about Christmas, I just want to point out that there are in fact 2 Hanukkah decorations right next to each other. So there you go. After passing under Superman, you make a right at the same DC Universe Christmas tree and enter the Gleam Punk district. This is always one of the most decked out areas of the park, and this year is no exception. It still looks really beautiful, and other than a lack of snow machines, it seems to be pretty much exactly the same way it always is. While we were in this area, I noticed a couple missed opportunities. I would have really liked to see Goliath decorated more, like just the track have lights all over it, or the cart running with lights on the cart. I feel like they could have done that with a lot of the roller coasters. Also, like, there's such a huge missed opportunity in not turning the Superman Tower or the Six Flags Tower into just a giant Christmas tree by stringing lights down from it in every direction. It just, things like that seem like no-brainers, but maybe they can't do because of some regulation or something. It would have been really nice touches to have in an event like this that's all about big, extravagant light shows. I have to say, while this was fun, there is something inherently sad about driving through the shuttered amusement park. Seeing the rides you love and not being able to enjoy them is kind of bittersweet. The Gleam Punk District is really the last section of the entire event. Once you get down here by the entrance to Scream, they have a display with Santa and his reindeers flying up into the sky, which I'm sure is a huge treat for the little kids. Definitely the proper way to end an event like this is to have Santa Claus racing off with the reindeer, so no complaints there. Once you exit this immediate area, you're kind of just thrown into darkness, so I was really glad they had an employee there telling people to make sure they turn their headlights back on. And then you get to actually drive under Scream, which was pretty cool. Overall, I would say the Holiday in the Park drive-thru experience is kind of lackluster. Maybe I was just expecting more. Maybe the fact that we drove an hour and a half and then waited an hour to get in for an experience that is only about 20 minutes long. I mean, look at the length of this video. We're only 13 minutes and 14 seconds in, and I've shown you everything I felt was worth sharing, which means there's quite a bit of stuff that I cut because it was just blank space. We've actually seen more impressive Christmas light displays just driving around our town on Christmas Eve. And our little art school had a more impressive Halloween drive-thru event. And yes, we got to experience all this for free, but because we're members, it's not really free. We've been paying for the Diamond Elite status all year despite not being able to go to the park, and we weren't even allowed to bring extra people in our car if they didn't pay or have passes of their own. The cynic in me thinks that this kind of felt like a cash grab, that they put in a minimum amount of effort to create a cost-effective yet highly profitable holiday event. And I understand, the company's losing a ton of money due to the pandemic. I just thought there'd be more. I thought it'd be more elaborate, I guess. Don't get me wrong, it had its moments. There were some really beautiful portions of the park, and if you're unable to do anything else you would normally do for Christmas because of the pandemic, then by all means, check it out. Your kids will get a kick out of it just because it is a ton of lights, and they'll be impressed with just about anything. For everybody else, though, I think it's just going to make you miss coming to the park for real. Anyway, that's my review of the Six Flags Holiday Drive Through the Park event. Or whatever they're calling it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep being awesome. In fact, Six Flags, if you're watching this, and I know you are, I'm gonna make you a special 2-for-1 deal right now. If you remove Viper, you can have Whistle Stop Express as well. That's 2 rides that allow you to save a potentially popular ride at another park. But wait, there's more. Act now, and you can also remove Wonder Woman Lasso of Truth.